Nathan Jude. It's Friday. It's the last day. It's the last day of these great videos. I've thoroughly enjoyed them.
Yes.
I've worn the same T-shirt every single day, even though we've been coming every single day of the week. But that's fine. It's starting to smell a little bit, but it's okay because when I sweat and when I smell, it actually smells more perfumey than BOE. So I'm good, mate. I'm good.
Lovely.
I'm good.
Sounds all right. Yeah.
I'm good. We're going to discuss the forwards to finish off the week. Look. Wolves did not score a lot of goals last season. I mean, that's my research there.
Yeah.
That's why I'm good at my... They did not score a lot of goals this season.
They didn't.
Look, that obviously needs to change. It didn't help when your best player in your team goes down with a fractured skull. I mean, we both have talked about... I don't want to talk about it too much, really. He was right in front of us at Arsenal when Raul went down with that sickening challenge. And look, the most important thing is Raul Jimenez... barring any setbacks, touch wood, will be on the pitch, will be starting Wolverhampton Wanderers for the first game of next season. From a selfish point of view, I'm quite happy he's not going to the Olympics. I'm quite happy he's not in the Mexican squad. I'm sure to the relief of Wolves as well. He's now got the whole summer to get himself right. He obviously, was on the pitch, which was great to see at the end of last season for that final game against Manchester United, just training and warming up. But even that is fantastic news. If he's fit, he's ready. Wolves are going to score a lot more goals this season. That's obvious.
I think so, and of course, after such an injury, there is a lot of wondering of whether he's going to be the same player. Of course, there are no guarantees, and he'll play with that head guard on for the rest of his career. But I think even if Wolves end up having half the Raul Jimenez that they had previously, I think he'll still score a fair amount of goals.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm watching some videos back recently of when he was at his full pomp, and it's
unbelievable.
Unbelievable. Not just one of the best strikers in the Premier League, but in all of Europe, and that is now exaggeration. He was absolutely brilliant. So even if Wolves don't have quite the Raul Jimenez of old, I still think he'd be a pretty damn good player, and one who'll score plenty of goals and hopefully get Wolves back firing next season.
Yeah, and also we'll move on to because we know what you're getting hopefully with Raul Jimenez, and I'm sure he'll be okay, and he's going to be wearing that protective head guard. I think that will stay on for the rest of his career. I think that's what they've said.
Yeah.
But other people have done it. Other people have been successful with it. I'm sure that Raul, with the determination and the support from the club, from the fans, from his family, he'll be absolutely brilliant. He'll be ready to go, and I'm sure he'll start really well. Fabio Silva's another one. Like, we talk about Fabio Silva, and I think he was very, very promising towards the end of the season. To have the start that he did, which was always going to be very difficult as an 18-year-old lad coming in a pandemic, to a side that's lost their best player, to be a 30, to hold that on your shoulders, that 30 million quid, and then to obviously not struggle at the start, but getting used to life in the Premier League, and then coming out the firing line, taking him out there, and then to come back and maybe beat a more established player in Willian to play the last few games of the season. I think he actually did very, very well. He's shown an eye for goal. He's shown he can score. But with Raul Jimenez with him, mentoring that, you forget that there was no mentor. He can't see him on the pitch. You can't see him on that training ground and learn from Raul last season. But I think that will massively help his development going forward, whether that be from the bench or starting. We've talked about Larger and likes to play 4-4-2. We could see Jimenez and Fabio up front next season, potentially for quite a few games.
I think so. I think there is the potential for that. I mean, I think Larger, looking what he's done previously, likes to play a 4-4-2 with almost a floater. So I think either Jimenez or Fabio could fill that role. And Fabio, for me, I think, obviously coming in with that huge price tag, it's always going to be a weight on his shoulders, but especially towards the end of the season, I really think he showed a good character first and foremost, which is good. And then I think his ability started to shine through as well as he got more confidence, as he got more games under his belt. Obviously, you look at him and I think physically there is work to do. I mean, he got bulk up a bit in the gym. I think there'll be an onus on that over the summer. I mean, some might say he lacks a yard of pace as well, but I do think he's got clever movement. He's got a knack of being in the right place at the right time. I mean, even that run over the winter months when he couldn't really hit anything, but he was still getting the chances.
Yeah, of course. He was getting to the right place.
He's getting in the right positions. So he's got that knack of getting in the right areas. And as I say, I do like the way he's gone about things, coming into a new country, a bit of pandemic, and 18 years old. I mean, he's picked up English straight away. I mean, he speaks better English than I do. So
not difficult.
So he's a good lad, and I think supporters are coming round to him, and I think they want to see him do well. And towards the end of the season, ended it with 4 goals, a pretty respectable tally. I mean, had he scored a couple of more, he would have been the top scorer. So I think as a first season, with Jimenez getting injured and not having that mentorship really that Wolves planned, I think he did pretty well.
So talking about the forwards as well, we're going to talk about the guys on the left and the right, and centrally. So let's talk about Pedro Neto first. And look, absolutely gutting that Fulham game when he went down, and of course broken kneecap. Some freak injuries for Wolves this year, and you know you can prepare as much as you want. The medical department at Wolves are as good as they come. You know, some of these injuries you just can't cater for, unfortunately. We hope to see Pedro Neto, hopefully, a few months into the season, and we hope to see, the Pedro Neto that we all love, that made him win Players Player of the Year, that made him win Player of the Year, because he was absolutely sensational and probably would have been very close to winning Young Player of the Year, for the Premier League, because he was that good. And he's going to be integral to larger and the way this Wolves side play, because for me, he's one of the most exciting young talents in Europe.
And he was Wolves' best player by an absolute country mile last season. It wasn't even close. And even as Nuno said a few times, I think he's still scratching the surface. He's far from the finished article, but he's that good. Yeah. And as you say, one of the best young players, I think, not just in the Premier League, but on the continent. Such a special player. I mean, the way he glides with the ball, takes players on. I mean, that goal at Southampton was absolutely majestic. Yeah. And it sounds like a lot, but he's got the world at his feet. He really has, and he's a special player. And I think he's got the right mindset as well. You speak to him, he's obviously confident. He's a confident lad.
Yeah. You say cocky, but he's not. He's not. He plays with a smile on his face. He plays aggressive. He can be frustrated as well, and he doesn't like to lose. He's got a bit of a temper on him, but I think you like that. You like to be a bit of feisty. Yeah, we like them to be a little bit feisty.
Oh yeah, love a bit of feistiness.
A little bit of feistiness.
He's got a winner's mentality. Yeah, and you can see that it shines through. And there were times, this season, that Southampton game in particular as well, where Wolves were kind of in the mire, and Neto almost single-handedly dragged them out of the mud, really.
And I think he gets frustrated at times because some of the players aren't on his level. Yeah. When he's like, oh my God, like, why have you not made that run? Or have you not seen that? And I think with the likes of Raul Jimenez, with maybe 1 or 2 more additions as well in that forward department, I think he will get back to that person who we know and love. And I'm sure he'll want to, when he gets back into full flow, add a few more goals to his game, Joe, because if anything, the one kind of downside was that he probably should have scored a few more. And Pedro Neto, and we're not going to see him for the full season, that's for certain, but a full season of Pedro Neto could score you, I would say, 10 to 12 Premier League goals, I would say, and obviously a plethora of assists. He is that good.
Yeah, and I think he ended on 5, and I think he'd be quite disappointed in that, actually. I mean, he was joint top scorer in the end, but I think he'd be aiming for more double figures. I think he's got a bit of aim because he's that talented. But yeah, special player, and hopefully more of him to come.
You talk about double figures. Adama Traore looked like at one point he wouldn't score a goal this season. Yeah. And look, thankfully things changed, and I thought he was finished the season absolutely brilliantly. Really, of course, came off with that slight hamstring strain. Doesn't look too serious. He's now with the Spain squad preparing with the Euros. So and playing the Euros, because this is we're filming this today on Friday and not a week and a half before. But look, yet to sign a contract as we record this. We're hopeful that he does. You want your exciting players. You want your players who can literally, like you say, take the game away from the opposition in a couple of movements. He's special. He has definitely got flaws. But you can't teach some of the skills that he's got, and I, for one, hope that he's still at the club next season. He signs that new deal. I think he's a very important player at Wolverhampton Wanderers.
He's an enigma, isn't he? He's special and he's unique. I mean, Nuno, how many times did he say he's a unique player in the world of football? And he is. He's there is no one else like him. Love him or love him or get frustrated with him. He is truly, he's Adama Traore, and there is only one of those. And for me, I think he should score more goals. I do think he should provide a few more assists, but equally, he takes on markers like it's nobody's business. He gets the most successful dribbles every season of any player in Europe. So,
how many more assists and goals, let's say, in hindsight, would he have had if Raul Jimenez was in the middle of that season? It's difficult to judge him into it off last season. And he did go through a bit of a tough patch, but the fact is the quality is there. And when you saw a peak Jimenez and Jota and Traore all going for it. And remember when he cut inside and he got to the bar and then he ran at defenders. That's what you're wanting to see. And actually towards the end of the season when he took that goal with the outside of his foot, very much unlike Traore going down the middle and finished it bottom corner. I can't remember who that was against actually at home. It was on the top of my head. But it was a striker's goal. What I'm saying is there was confidence there for him moving inside, and that's what you don't want a left back. The last thing you want to see is Traore running at you or cutting inside. You want to show him that byline. Hopefully he gets across it, and it may or may not get completely in the box. But that's what you want. If you've got someone running at you, that's the last thing you want to see. I think again a very important part to Wolves' success next season.
Well, and if again, he's another player that has been, kind of linked with a move away. But if Neto being out till October, Adama starting the season here at Wolves, if he's still here, then the onus is on him.
Mm-hmm.
He's got to be that creator and that scorer. It'd be unfair to expect too much of Jimenez to begin with, and of course Fabio, as we've mentioned, still developing. So I think the onus really is on Traore to start the season strong.
Daniel Pedence. Difficult season for him. Stop-start season, injuries, a couple of good games, then a loss of form. I think a long time ago now. He started that Sheffield. Remember that Sheffield United away game?
Yeah.
And it looked fantastic.
Electric.
Jimenez, Traore came off the bench, and it looked really exciting. And I still think there's a player in there in Daniel Pedence. However, I think he needs to first of all eradicate the injuries out of his game because let's hope he gets back fit. But two, that there's a little bit of pettiness that I think came, a little bit of frustration that I don't like to see, and I think maybe he needs to curtail that, whether someone needs to have a word in his ear. Because he's a talented footballer, and for me will probably have a very important part to play under Larger. But it's an important season for him here because with Neto out, with Jimenez still working his way back, the onus will be onto these kind of signings. Now he's been, signed from Olympiacos. He's been here for a while now to really take that mantle, and people will want more from Daniel Pedence moving forward, I think.
Yeah, I mean, like Traore said, more goals, more assists. I think that same applies to Pedence. I think he was a player that, after that injury, came back in February time and he didn't look right. I think he came back a little bit too soon. And I also think he was playing in the wrong position. He was playing as that floater, kind of in that midfield three.
So what's his best position, would you say?
I think he's on the wing.
Yeah.
When he's taking on defenders and getting crosses in, I think all his best work, I think he's one of the best crossers of the ball that Wolves have. And I think you want to get him up against the fullback. I think that's when he's tricky. I think he almost gets crowded out a little bit when he's in the middle of the park. And as we know, height's not everything, but I think it does kind of count against him sometimes in the middle when you've got big midfielders marking him, 2 or 3 on him. Give him more room to work in out wide, and I think that's where he can be at his best. And if Larger plays this 4-4-2 at Wolves, I'd have him on the left or on the right, and let him get at fullbacks, and because I see him as a winger. I do think he's a winger. He's versatile. He can play in that 10 role if you want, but for me, I think he plays his best football out wide.
Okay, I'm going to put these 3 people bunched together. Kobianu.
Right. Yeah.
What's the situation with him?
He's a young kid, obviously. Very early.
Is he alone? Do you feel?
Maybe. Yeah. I don't think he maybe quite ready for Premier League football yet. Maybe a Football League loan would help him. I think he's too good for the 23s now. So yeah, maybe a loan for him.
Okay, 2 loanees. 2 loanees, I've completely forgotten.
William Jose.
What situation? And obviously, Patrick Catrone, who was Wolves player, but then got loaned out, etc. But Jose, we're not going to see any more of, are we?
No, I don't think so. I'm flattered to deceive. I think his performances left a lot to be desired. To be honest, I think the thinking was right. A target man, offer something different, experienced, top level experience, but I just don't think he offered enough.
I think when Fabio Silva, who he was brought in to kind of take the onus off him, the fact that Fabio Silva then went ahead of him just shows everything. I don't think we'll be seeing him again.
No, I don't think so.
Catrone, I guess just going to sell him, get some cash for him.
If they can get cash for him, and then you apply the same to Rafa Mir.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Rafa Mir, that's the one who obviously has done very well. And look, a lot of fans want to see Rafa Mir and give him a chance. Can you see Rafa Mir coming back into the fold here and potentially? And we're going to move on to what Wolves need to get in the forwards department, challenging the likes of Jimenez and Silva and being that third striker. Obviously done very, very well. a lot of fans will be kind of like, looking at maybe Pedro Gonzalez and how he's done and gone off, and now he's talking about 50, 60, 70 million pounds for him as the one that got away. Could Rafa Mir be the one that got away, or do you think that the way is that you cash in, get some money, and use that into transfer funds, and look, there's going to be some money that Wolves need to spend this season?
Ultimately, it's a decision for Larger to make, I think, but I would lean towards that he'd be sold. I'd be more surprised to see him at the club. I think you've got an asset there that you can get a good fee for. I think he's entering the final year of his contract at Wolves as well. So I think if the time to cash him probably would be now, unless they plan on giving him a new deal. So I think there'll be interest, and not just from Huesca where he's been on loan, but I think prominent clubs in Spain, because he scored a lot of goals in La Liga. So. For me, I wouldn't be surprised to see him sold and sold at a pretty nice fee.
Right, additions. We're nearly there. We're finishing additions next season. So you have got a 30+ million pound signing in Fabio Silva. You have got on his day probably one of the best strikers in Europe in Raul Jimenez.
Yeah.
Where do they need to buy? Do they need to buy out wide? Do they need to buy? Is there another central striker that they need to buy? Do they need to buy on the wings? Where do they need to buy? I understand that a lot will be determined on whether Adama Traore stays or not. However, let's say he does. Let's say he signs a new contract. You're still waiting on the left-hand side or centrally, depending where you want Pedence to play, but on Neto coming back. Do they need to sign 1, 2 more? Or are they okay as they are?
I think they need another striker. I think there needs to be a third man in there.
To come in and play and start, because you can't spend a lot of money on, if you're talking about big money to come on, and one thing you don't want is someone like let's say William Jose to come on loan and do exactly the same as what he's done. That's a waste of space.
I'd perhaps look at the loan market, to be honest, again, but I think in terms of the big money, I think you want to be looking at centre half. I think that's a top priority, but I think they do need another forward. I think any club worth their salt would want 3 strikers on their books, really,
like a versatile who can play across the front 3.
Maybe, or I think the thinking with Jose was right. I think a target man, somebody more aerially dominant. Especially when you're chasing the game, somebody that can be in the box and you can be an obvious target. May not be the most prettiest thing all the time, but I know he's been mentioned before. Wolves wouldn't get him, I don't think, but a Giroud type at Chelsea. You know what I mean? It's that is. I think the thinking with Jose was right. It just wasn't the right player. So I think they do need another striker. And then you're looking at
Giroud loves an orange chip, by the way. He loves an orange chip.
You're looking at the wings and Traore and Pedence, but then if one of them gets injured or one of them leaves, then so
stop banging my desk, by the way.
There is a lot of work to do, though.
Okay.
There is a lot of work, and I think other positions kind of take precedence a little more. So centre back, central midfield, left back, but I think striker needs looking at as well.
That's it. That's the end of our positional reviews of the 2020-2021 season. Bit of a mouthful.
Yeah.
Bit of a mouthful. It's Friday. Get a beer, chill out the weekend, and we'll be back with signings and lots of other exciting things throughout the summer before pre-season starts in earnest. Can't wait. Can't wait, Joe.
Hey.
Thank you very much. From me, from Joe, make sure you log on to expressandstyle.com for all your Wolves news.